If you have an opponent that has a lot of strengths and a strong defense, wouldn't you try to use the dirty tricks to render your opponent weak? Of course. And that's what nerfing a male is.
Special Agent, do you understand your mission?
Yes. To create as many weak men as possible in order to make women feel good about the poor decisions they make in life, without having to deal with the consequences, and men challenging them with logic.
And what if that strategy doesn't work?
Then we lie on them, knowing that the law will always work in our favor. After all, who are they going to believe?
I like that. Glad we're on the same page.
Greetings everyone. Welcome to Male Conversations Unlocked, the classroom for men, where common sense is not something you were born with but what you were taught. I see. So we have in our presence a woman who is famous for destroying the lives of, well, every man in existence, but works behind the scenes lurking in the shadows. She calls herself the Shame Tactician and believes that in order for women to feel as if they're superior to the male species and to be able to feel comfortable in their illusion, men had to be nerfed. Without further ado, please welcome Special Agent Amanda.
Thank you for finally taking the time to see me. I'm a former member of the MSO, which stands for the Male Shaming Agency, and I was one of the top-ranking agents. I sure hope that I can provide valuable insights and perspective to this interview, even though it might ruffle a bit of feathers.
Well, that's why we have these conversations, and there are going to be some which are tough to discuss. Let me ask, why do you call yourself the Shame Tactician, and why do you believe men have to be nerfed?
It all started one day while I was watching the television, and one thing I noticed was a trend. And that trend was women complaining about how men are trash and disposable. How men ain't nothing and serves no purpose in society, and should be treated like Balaam's donkey, while avoiding the dead end in front of them. So when I saw this level of idiocracy, I decided that if you can't beat the women out their senses, I might as well capitalize on their false ideology. Developed an action or strategy carefully planned to achieve a specific end for them. And I must say that it was good for business. And that's how I formed that name. As for men having to be nerfed, let me ask you this. If you have an opponent that has a lot of strengths and a strong defense, wouldn't you try to use the dirty tricks to render your opponent weak? Of course. And that's what nerfing a male is. Simply to reconfigure a male character to make him less powerful, or to reduce the effectiveness of a male character in order to achieve a competitive balance. And that's why we use shaming tactics.
So instead of working to get what they want, they shame men to get what they can't.
When you put it that way, then yes.
So what is shaming tactics, and how are they used?
Well, shaming tactics are emotional devices meant to play on a man's insecurities and shut down debates. They are meant to elicit sympathy for women, and to demonize men who ask hard questions. Feminist shaming tactics are argumentum ad hominem. In other words, attacking the men. Shaming tactics are used against men whenever a discussion arises about feminism, men's issues, divorce, romance, marriage, domestic violence, child support, visitation, false accusations, workplace benefits, false imprisonment, overcriminalization, and more.
This has a lot to do with postmodern womanism, which has two components, i.e., liberal womanism and radical womanism. The former being an individualistic form of feminist theory which focuses on women's ability to maintain their equality by uplifting themselves in the field of academics and other domains by which they can make better decisions and attain equal political and legal rights. Radical feminism, on the other hand, demands drastic reordering of society in which male supremacy is eliminated in all social and economic contexts. This is kind of similar to Pharaoh, king of Egypt, when he tried to get rid of all the newborn male babies, because he feared their presence and didn't want them to rise up against them. And guess how that turned out? The only difference is that today, women are trying to be the Pharaoh.
You're quite the astute one, aren't you? I didn't think you'd pick that up. I'm impressed.
You see, men aren't dumb. We're only pretending to be dumb because society wants women to feel confident and superior in their dreamland, failing to realize that they're placed under a genjutsu.
Alright. Let's end this! Here's the genjutsu reflection.
But if I tell them that, then how would I afford my mansion?
Good point.